the Capitol to protest for the people who were arrested in connection with the January 6th insurrection. David, how concerned are you that we could see history repeat itself here?
Oh, I think it's setting up to be a very dangerous event, but I think our intelligence officials and our Capitol Police officials are now well aware of that. But I want to tie the thread from what Bush said to this upcoming rally, Allison, because he said something very important in that speech that often gets lost because we were so impressed with the Republican former president calling out extremism in the United States. But his line that mattered most was when he said, "And it is our duty to confront it." And I promise you, there are a lot of kind of former Republicans or never Trump Republicans, folks like myself, Susan, and others, who heard that calling to stay in the fight, to confront this extremism. And it is that type of extremism that, whether it turns violent in this rally at the Capitol or stays peaceful, it is that type of extremism that is going to be affirmed and supported. And I think the most dangerous thing is we will see members of Congress participate in this. And members of Congress will use what leadership currency they have to actually further the flames and peddle this conspiracy and suggest that the people who engaged in an insurrection against the United States are now wrongly being held accountable for it.
Yesterday, former President Bush was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Former Presidents Obama and Clinton at Ground Zero, while President Biden went to both memorial sites, plus the Pentagon. Donald Trump didn't go to Ground Zero or any of those formal ceremonies. Susan, were you surprised by that, or by now, do you just expect him to go his own way?
I expect him to go his own way. In all his tenure, Donald Trump has never tried to serve this country. He's always wanted something from the country. So it comes at no surprise that he would, at the last minute, and it was last minute, it was unplanned, decide to go to a firehouse and see NYPD and New York fire members just because he needed to do something because it looked so bad. He didn't care, because look at his words at that when he spoke. All he talked about was himself, not the sacrifice of the people that served with these men and women who we lost 20 years ago. Is it surprising? No. Is it shocking? No. Is it sad and pathetic that this man, this is all he cares about is himself on such a solemn day? Yes.
David, when Trump spoke at the NYPD's 17th precinct, he teased a 2024 run for the White House. Your reaction?
Yeah. He's showing a lot of weakness with this 2024 narrative. He has to lean into it, because whether he runs or not, there are already leading Republicans nationally running. Ron DeSantis is already running for president. Nikki Haley is already running for president. Perhaps Kristi Noem, perhaps Ted Cruz. They are preparing right now and doing the things that presidential candidates do. So if Donald Trump thinks he's going to run in 2024, his hand's getting forced a little bit here, because what you're beginning to see is leaders like DeSantis, Noem, and others begin to pass Donald Trump in the narrative around who's going to be the 24 GOP nominee.
All right, and that was early in the day. Later on, he did live commentary for a pay-per-view boxing match. Don, if any other president or former president did that on 9/11, how do you think it would have gone over?
I think this is the 1,000,007th entrance into the "What if Barack Obama had done X" sweepstakes. We know exactly how it would have gone over. It was a despicable thing to do. And we can talk about how déclassé it was. I think I'm using that term right. I'm not sure. But the far more important thing is, as Susan and David have reminded me for week after week on this show, is that Trump has to continue to get paid to feed the grift. That's why he goes out and does these speeches. That's why he continues to send these Save America fundraising emails. He is in copious amounts of legal jeopardy and actual civil jeopardy, some of it criminal, some of it civil, because of his enterprises, because of ongoing investigations from New York State, as well as potential federal investigations. He has to keep the money train going. And that's why you saw him officiating or calling or commentating at a C-rate boxing match last night put on by Triller. It was a despicable event, but that's the state of Trump Inc. right now.
Susan, I see you nodding and smiling there along with Don, but I'd love to get your take. I think I know what it is, but let's hear it.
Yeah, as Don said, the three of us have been talking about Donald Trump and his need for money, and also his need for relevance now, especially. David makes a great point about Donald Trump no longer being the top narrative, or close to not being the top narrative, for 2024. his shtick is getting tired with his supporters in that they are already riled up. They don't need him to continue down this frightening path that they're going, whether it's the big lie or other things or extremism. But Donald Trump now needs them more. So he'll try any stunt that he can pull. It's just unimaginable that a former president of the United States would actually go and do this on 9/11. And yet Donald Trump did. I can't think of one thing that Donald Trump did that was presidential. So there you have it.
David, your take on the shtick. How much longer can this go on? And is it helping him, up against these other potential candidates who you say are already running nationally?
Look, the man's a huckster. Donald Trump's a huckster. And just consider the constituency he was reaching last night, a pay-per-view boxing audience. Go to the constituencies that Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott, Kirsty Noem, and others are reaching. They are reaching swing state constituencies that will determine the Republican nomination for president in 2024. Donald Trump is not behaving like a serious political candidate. He's behaving like somebody who desperately needs the financial resources to keep the grift going. He's a huckster. He's not going to change.
Thanks to all of you for your perspectives today, and in particular to Don for bringing the school spirit as well. Thanks so much.
You got it.
Thanks.
It might not be immediately apparent, but there are reasons why that recall election in California this week could have huge implications for the entire country. It's so important, the president's going there.